Racing in Ironman 70.3 is no small feat. You'll be swimming 1.2 miles or 1.9 kilometers, cycling 56 miles or 90K, and running 13.1 miles, that's 21K, in some of the most scenic and iconic destinations around the globe. No matter where your racing takes you, here's what you need to know for your best experience on race day. You'll need to arrive in your race destination at least one day before your race. The day before race day, you'll need to pick up your bib numbers and bags, check in your bike, and attend a mandatory athlete briefing put on by race organizers that reviews the racing rules, safety regulations, and any nuances of the course. Depending on the swim venue, there might also be an organized practice swim on the race course the morning before so that you can experience conditions similar to race morning. Using that full day to prep for the race will help you mentally prepare as well. You can identify landmarks around the transition area so you can find your bike rack easily, learn the flow of entrances and exits, and preview any challenging sections of the course. You can also get in some short training rides or runs to stay loose. If the race's weather or elevation are significantly different from where you live, such as if you live at sea level and are racing in the mountains, or you're coming from somewhere cool for a hot, humid race, then arriving to your race destination a few days in advance could help your body acclimate for race day. On race morning, plan to arrive at least 60 to 90 minutes before your start time. The race's athlete guide will provide information on parking near the race venue. Depending on the race, you might need to take a shuttle from a parking lot to transition, or if it's a point-to-point swim course, you might need to walk or shuttle to get to the swim start. So make sure you build that time into your race morning plan. Once you arrive in transition area, double check your tire pressure and make sure your bike is in the right gear for the bike start. Lay out your transition area, fill up your water bottles, get in any pre-race nutrition, and make one final trip to the Porta-Johns. If the race has a wetsuit legal swim, which means a water temperature of 78 degrees or lower, you want to wear a wetsuit to take advantage of the extra buoyancy. After your last toilet trip, start putting on your wetsuit at least up to your waist. If the air temperature is warm, keep it unzipped until close to the start. If it's going to be a colder swim and you have access to the water, take a quick dip to get some water into your wetsuit to warm you up and take away some of that initial cold water shock. Make sure to have your assigned swim cap on and goggles ready to go on your head. Some races have morning clothes bags in which you can place your dry clothes, sandals, or whatever else you wore to the swim start. Leave the bag at the designated drop area, then get ready to race. Depending on the race, you might have an age group start or a self-seated rolling start. With an age group start, your age group will have an assigned swim cap color, and you'll start at regular time intervals in a predetermined order. This makes planning your pre-race nutrition a little easier if you know what time you'll be entering the water. If your race uses a rolling start, you'll need to look for volunteers holding up time designations, such as 30 to 33 minutes, 33 to 36 minutes, and so on. Then line up with a group that includes your expected swim finish time. You might be tempted to jump in a faster group, but this really only hurts, not helps your race. That's because faster swimmers will likely be swimming over you to have their best race time, and they'll be too fast for you to be able to draft off of. Once in your assigned group, you'll enter the water 1 or 2 athletes at a time every few seconds for the 1.2 mile swim. Ironman 70.3 swims can be 1 or 2 laps and are marked with buoys every 100 yards. Take the first few buoys to warm up and build into your pace. Red buoys typically indicate a turn, so make sure you are sighting frequently to stay on course. Then swim closely to the turn buoys if possible. If you'll be facing the sun, it's best to wear tinted goggles to help block the sun's glare when sighting. Some courses even feature an Aussie exit or a short run between laps. Whatever the swim course, make sure you get familiar with it ahead of time. If you get panicked or nervous in the water, roll onto your back to breathe easier and raise your hand for one of the dozens of kayakers, stand-up paddleboarders, and other safety watercraft on course to come to your aid. You'll have 1 hour and 10 minutes to complete the swim. When you arrive at the swim exit, you might have stairs, a beach, or a ramp to run up. If there are handrails, make sure you use them, and if a volunteer offers to help you out of the water and strip off your wetsuit, accept the help to save some of your energy. As you run to the transition area for T1, unzip your wetsuit and pull it down to your waist. Remove your swim cap and goggles and carry them in your hand. Start mentally running through what you'll need to do when you arrive at your bike rack. Switch quickly to your bike gear, clip on your helmet, grab your bike and bib number, and put on your shoes if they're not already clipped to your pedals. Research the expected weather ahead of time. You might want to wear some bike sleeves to keep yourself warm or protected from the sun. Walk the bike to the mountain line outside of transition and start riding. The 56-mile bike course usually takes you on a scenic tour of the area on 1 or 2 loops. Even though the bike courses are clearly marked, familiarize yourself with the shape of the course as well as the important climbs, descents, turns, and out and back sections so that you can pace yourself appropriately and stay on course. Volunteers and sometimes law enforcement will be stationed at key intersections and turns, so make sure you are always aware and follow directions for your own safety. Some bike courses are closed to vehicular traffic and some aren't, so carefully follow all the directions given by race organizers at the pre-race briefing. You'll usually find aid stations located about every 15 miles on the bike course, so familiarize yourself in training with the products offered on course if you plan to use them. Ironman expects you to be able to handle basic mechanical issues on your bike, but if you need tech support, there are roving vehicles on course. Just stop at an aid station to request help, but don't expect them to be immediately available or close by. Most bike courses have an intermediate time cutoff in order to keep racing, such as starting the second lap or completing a large climb by a certain time, regardless of when you started the swim. Make sure you're aware of these times. The bike course usually closes 5.5 hours into the race. As you complete the bike course and head towards T2, use the crowd support to give you a boost and start visualizing your plan for switching to your run gear. Enter transition, rack your bike and switch into your run shoes. If the course is hot or sunny, make sure you respect the heat and any potential sun exposure. Consider wearing a hat, sunscreen, sunglasses, and even a sun shirt for protection. Exit T2 and start the 13.1 mile run. Familiarize yourself with the half marathon course before race day. It might include multiple loops or out and backs. Just like the bike, it's usually an opportunity to enjoy local scenery. Make sure you're aware of the running surface, such as pavement or packed gravel, when you select your running shoes for race day. And pace yourself for any climbs or technical sections. The run course usually has an aid station every 1 to 1.5 miles, so use those as opportunities to stay on top of your hydration and cooling if needed. The course may or may not be closed to vehicles, so pay attention to any instructions by volunteers, race organizers, or law enforcement while you're on course. There is usually one intermediate run course cutoff time halfway through the run, so make sure you're aware of your pacing on the first half of the run. To complete the race, you'll head back near the transition area and Ironman Village. Use the motivational boost of the crowds as you turn towards the finish line. Don't forget to smile as you successfully complete your Ironman 70.3. Thank the volunteers as you funnel through the finish chute, then enjoy some post-race food and beverages in the Ironman Village. Once you've had your fill, head back to transition to grab your bike and gear, then enjoy the rest of your recovery time in whatever world-class destination you're visiting. Rock that finisher's medal proudly. You just crushed an Ironman 70.3.